All right, Ryan Voorhees here again, and we're ready to start roofing. We've got all of our flashing pre-made, and we've gone through and we've made our saw cut. We always want to do this first because we don't want to have a brand new roof and then saw cut and get all that silica dust on the roof to stain the roof. So saw cut is done, so we're going to roof up to the chimney and flash it in. I have Carl here helping us now, so we're ready to start nailing off shingles, which he's going to do so right now. So this first shingle we've got notched around, and our next shingle we're going to notch all the way around. So we have one piece of shingle. All right, now that we have that shingle in place, we are ready to install our apron flash. So we're going to take and make sure that we have this here bent all the way around, and Carl's got one more shingle he can nail there. And this apron flashing is going to fit just like so. And we're going to make sure it's centered, so we've got about 3 inches on each side. And this is going to be exposed, everything that we see here. So we're going to put no nails through this apron, but we are going to make a slit and a bend here on the bottom. So to start off, we're going to hold this in place, and on the back side, I'm going to make a pencil mark right down at the corner so I know where to cut this, and I've just made a mark like so on the back side. And I'm going to have Carl do the same on the other side. All right. Now I can take this away, and I like to have a straight 45-degree angle. So I'm going to take a square and my pencil. Thank you. Make myself a mark across there, and do the same over here on the other side. And with my marks in place, I can grab the snips. And I want to show you what I'm doing here. So this is the way it was laying. I've got a mark on the back side. So I'm going to take and cut a 45-degree angle cut all the way back to the bottom of that flashing right along my line. And then the same on the other side over here. Very good. So we're going to take this back up in place. Make sure that our felt paper is back lapped correctly. And then by hand, I'm going to put pressure against the brick side and take my thumb and bend that tab around and then squeeze it to get it to stay. And I'm going to have Carl do the same there. All right. And once that's done, we'll take it back away, and then by hand, we're going to overbend these a little bit so they spring in. That'll help hold that flashing in place. And the other thing that we'll do is bend these tabs that remain down. We're just using aluminum, so we can bend this by hand with no problem. So spring these open, slide the flashing back in place. And what we're going to do is, the only place we're going to nail this right now is right up here in the corner of this point on both sides. All right. Now that we have that in place, our very next shingle is going to lay right here, and we've got a problem with this exposed corner here. So what we do is we start our step flashing right now, and our step flashing is going to go on just like so. And what I like to do is, again, take and bend this exposed edge all the way around. So I'm going to take my step flash all the way down to where the shingle exposure is, which is right here at this groove, and take a pencil and make a mark like we did before. So I'm going to come on the back side and make a mark right where the corner of that hits. And then I can take my square and make a line. And then take a snip right through that and back. So this tab here, I'll probably cut off just for looks. And this upper portion that remains, I'm going to bend around just like so by hand. And then overbend it a little bit. So again, for looks, this tab here is going to be exposed. So we'll cut that clean off. So what I'm left with is my first step flashing being just like this. And as you can see, if you can see this corner, that is my only vulnerable point in this whole assembly when we're all done, because there's another hole underneath. But if I lap them correctly like I have here, it's very tight. So before we lay this in, I won't do it for demonstration purposes, but I'd put a real heavy bead of butyl rubber caulking, and butyl rubber is perfect for flashing, and then wet set this piece right over top of it so I know I've got a good seal in this joint. So this piece is good, and when we nail this step flash, we only put a nail here in this upper corner. I'm going to have Carl do that right here. And the reason we only nail in that upper corner is because we want this flashing to be flexible for the next roofer so he can actually pull it out and reuse it. And we also want to make sure that we have ability to expand and contract, and we don't want to put a hole up close because then we have a potential leak if we put a hole up close. So we're ready for this next shingle here. And that shingle comes right down to the exposure. And just do here and here. And you'll take note here when I had him nail this, we're not putting any nails through this flashing. If we were to put a nail right here, we've got a potential leak if water got underneath the shingle. So nails are held back that 6 inches. So this will continue up the roof, and then we'll repeat it here on the other side. So if you want to grab another shingle, we'll keep on going on this side.